Small group today.
You getting the Johnny Cash going out there?
Yeah, we mix it up. I can only take so much of the new rap stuff without getting some Johnny Cash or country music in there, so we make them mix it up.
How do you feel your guys kind of progress throughout this week?
It's been a good week again. This time of year, we got some guys a little banged up. We got some guys that are run down a little bit, so that's typical this time of year. Guys got to be able to step up. There's 8 days left in this season, and even if guys are a little low, their gas tanks are a little low, they got to find what they can and finish it. But it's been a great week, and we need some warriors on Saturday.
Did you try to raise JD up at all this week, or do you just try to kind of get him through?
We got a bunch of guys nicked up, guys trying to get through practice, do what they can, and try to get themselves ready for Saturday. So that's just November football, and we'll do everything we can to get everybody as healthy as we can.
Is JD one of those guys who can not practice and still go out there and get something done for you?
Yeah, JD knows what he's doing, so he doesn't need as many reps. Obviously, you're never as good if you don't get reps, but he's a guy that knows it well enough to be able to play even with limited reps.
Your first game was against Michigan State as a player. You remember that? Or?
Yeah, I do remember that. A little different Michigan State team, but I forgot that was my first start, and we handled them pretty good. Then I coached against them twice at Oregon with this coaching staff. Got a lot of respect for them. They know what they're doing. Their teams play hard, so I'm as familiar with them as I am about any team in this league.
As you watch them more over the week, what makes them as good against the run?
They're aggressive first and foremost. They get their guys playing really hard. They know their schemes real well, so they know where they're supposed to be and supposed to fit. But you see their D-line not giving any ground, and then a bunch of guys coming to fit and cap things off. And there's been a couple weeks I watched big play reels, like runs of over 12 yards, and some teams we've played have had about 50 runs of over 12 yards against them on the year. Michigan State has 10 in 10 games, so it's going to be a challenge for us. We've run it well, but this is going to be one of our biggest tests.
We get a lot more obsessed with stats than you guys probably do, but is there a stat or two you look at first and foremost as a coach that's important to you, and then is there a stat you'd say conversely is overrated?
The biggest stats we look at are turnovers and probably starting field position, and we were terrible at those at the beginning of the year. Those have consistently got better as the year's gone along. I don't think it's any coincidence that Northwestern's first in the country in penalties, and they're going to win our half. We've been on the flip side of that for most of the year. Those are things that we always need to get better that are going to lead to wins. Some of the other stats where we rank on things, we'll look at those after the year's over. My biggest opinion on those is if we're moving up the charts and improving, that's the direction we want to head.
Obviously, you guys had a few big plays on special teams last Saturday, blocked upon a couple of fumble recoveries. What's sustainable about what you guys did on special teams last Saturday?
Well, you're not going to block a punt every week, but I loved our effort covering kicks. Guys were getting down there and making plays, and if you have a 10-yard difference in starting field position over the course of a game, that's going to be over 100 yards of hidden yardage, and that leads to points. So special teams is vital. Depth helps special teams because some of the guys that aren't playing 80 snaps offense or defense should be the guys that are your key guys on special teams, and that'll continue to improve here. But I've seen a lot of progress over the last few weeks.
I think Coach DeWitt mentioned earlier this year that it was something like 75% of drives that start at the 29 or better result in a score. Have you seen your team kind of fit with that statistic, or where have been a good starting field position for you guys?
Yeah, early in the year particularly it was noticeable. It felt like every time we were taking the field on offense, it was on our 20 or inside our 20. Remember Wisconsin game, we let them start on the 50 or in our territory a bunch. That makes a difference. It's a lot easier to get 2 first downs and get points if you start on the 50 than it is to get 4 or 5 first downs to get in field goal range. So those are huge factors in a game that help decide a game, and in order to get the field position right, you got to be good on defense, you got to be good on special teams.
I think it was a summary. You talked about scripting. You said you didn't have a hard script for opening sequences. Can you just maybe take us through, just generally speaking, what you go into a game with? Is it just you have some ideas that you want to get to early in the game, or how does that process?
Yeah, we put our call sheet together so we have an idea of what we want to get to real early, and then there's kind of a menu to pick from. We're not going to run specific plays, first, second, and third play, just because you don't know what the situation is going to be. But you know, there's a list of about 20 plays that we want to get to real early, and then a list of another 30 or so that we can choose from once we get through those. So it's not completely scripted, but we have an idea what we want to attack them with first.
The weather forecast doesn't sound like it's supposed to be very good, this Sunday. Does your plan change at all on how you attack things?
No, again, I haven't played quarterback. The only two things that are really that change what you're thinking is if it's really wet or it's really windy. Cold shouldn't affect us. Our guys responded well to that last week. Just anything that would keep us from throwing it as much as we want is the only thing that would change how we're going to approach the game.
Do you think last week helped that at all?
Absolutely. Said it last week. Adrian throws a tight ball, so wind doesn't affect his ball as much as it would have mine. The cold, I was really pleased with how the guys responded to that, even from warm-ups right through the end of the game. So we're not going to worry about that too much. We got other things to worry about to get ready for the game, and we'll play in whatever conditions are there.
Do they, with the way they defend the run, is there something unique about their scheme, or is it play well?
No, they don't do a lot of different things. They actually do more things than they used to. When I coached against them before, they mix it up a little more. But they're always aware of who's got what gap. So they did a great job coaching it. The biggest thing is they got big physical guys in their front seven, and the back end does a good job of tackling, so nothing leads to big plays. I'm really impressed with their personnel on defense and how they fly around and hold gaps and get to the football.
Coach, earlier this week you signed a hat for a fan. Does it ever surprise you how much Husker football means to you?
Yeah, I'm reminded every day how much it means to people here and to the state of Nebraska. I hope we can make them proud. Hope we are making them proud. That was creative how they did that when they left it behind in the stadium, and something like that I'm always going to do what I can to try to help, and got to meet some really good people from Nebraska through that, and I think they're just an example of how much of a passion there is for Nebraska football in this state.
You reflected significant, what's it going to, when you're standing there in the tunnel and you're sending those guys off, do you know how that's going to feel for you yet?
Yeah, these guys are going to mean a lot to me as long as I'm coaching here. This first group, because this is going to be the group that had to go through the growing pains of changing everything. And without really good leaders and really good seniors, that wouldn't have happened. I've said it a bunch, but this team could have gone 100 different directions when we were struggling early on and getting bad breaks and losing games. It couldn't have started any worse. And this team held together and got better through that. Now we're dangerous. We're a team that could beat just about anybody in this league. We got to play well to have a chance, but we're a dangerous team, and the culture's better. Everybody's having more fun. It's starting to get right, and without this group of guys that are leaving the program, that never could have happened.